Hi, my name is Bob Hughes with JD Squared, and what I'd like to show you here is the Model 52 Rotary Bender. It's a hydraulic powered machine. If you've looked at the 53 series of our bender, you'll notice that it has a double acting cylinder. This one here incorporates a 10,000 psi cylinder similar to what we're already currently using in Model 32s and Model 4s. The reason we developed two hydraulic machines of this style was for the simple fact that we've sold tens of thousands of machines and we have thousands of customers who've already purchased power units off us and have cylinders. In this case here, they don't really need to purchase another pump or a cylinder. They can contact us and say, hey, we need a bender without it, and this way they can save a pretty good amount of money. The cylinder we're using is a 10-ton cylinder, 14-inch stroke, and it can be powered by a couple different style pumps. One of them will be the air over hydraulic. Now that will be required for this bender here to run at full power. Is going to require a 10,000 psi pump, and most people use an air over hydraulic. However, we utilize in our operations here the AC pump. Now the AC pump will only generate 4,000 psi, and what that's going to do, that simply means you're going to get 40% of the power of the machine. As you'll see here in a second here, 40% of this machine is still a considerable amount of power. But anyway, let's get on here. Let's talk about the individual features. We're going to start off here to Spindle. All Model 50 series bender, 51, 52, 53, etc., have the same style spindle. They're rotary machines, and the reason for that is currently in R&D we have the tube feeder and the mandrel extraction unit. So this bender here is completely mandrel capable, and we will be coming out with an entire series of dies to reflect that. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the die. All JD Squared dies are steel billet. They're guaranteed for life. They never break. So let's pop it off. This happens to be a 2-inch die right here. What we've got here is the spindle. It incorporates 4 1-inch dowel pins. This is the actual drive hub, which you can't see here, but is in here. If you notice, it's 4.5-inch diameter alloy steel with the dowel pins, and what we have is drive teeth here. So unlike a conventional bender, you notice there's no keyways in it. And the reason for that is we drive directly to the teeth, right to the spindle, and what this allows us to do is get past the limitation of keyways shearing off, and we're able to generate a tremendous amount of power. So this machine here is capable of a little over 170,000 inch-pounds of torque. That is a ton of power. If you notice, there's the top of the other spindle, and what it does, it comes up through the bottom, it's tapered, it maintains alignment. This is the upper bearing. Large, heavy-duty bearing, well oversized, and it's designed for the life of the machine. It's a greaseless design, so you don't even have to worry about grease. And every once in a while, if you want to shoot something in it, that's fine, but it's not required. Now let's move back to the pressure die system. What we've done on this machine here is we've made a removable screw system. We're going to remove the follow bar. You set it right here. And what you can do is you can move it forward and remove it out of the machine. And the idea is that we're going to come up with different style pressure screws. For instance, this one has 2 holes in it, and I'll explain what that does here. The left hole, when she's in the bender here, the left hole is closer to the tangent of where we're actually bending the tube, the tangent point. What that does, that increases the pressure on the rear insert, allows us to bend thinner wall tubing with a higher quality bend. However, if you're going to bend heavy tubing, 2-inch, 2-inch, quarter-inch wall, something like that, 2.5-inch tubing, 2-inch square, whatever, you don't want to use that because it's going to overload and the machine's not going to like it. It's basically going to stall out. So if you go to the right side hole, you get a very much even little power distribution there as far as the cylinder is concerned. Now the other thing, the quick removal feature is so that we can make different pressure screws, and one of the ones that we're going to be working on is a roller system. And rollers work really good for doing dirty, rusty pipe and everything. They do a terrible job of bending tubing. The bend quality, you're not going to like it. However, if you've got really bad rusty pipe, you don't want to be running it through a friction style wiper die for the simple fact it's going to wear it out. So rollers are very good at that. Also, we want to come out with pressure screw assemblies for doing angle iron, top rails for people building gates, fences, stuff like that. Now, what we've done here is we have a simple flipper system here. And what that allows us to do is to quickly flip it over, slide it back. We can remove the tubing right out of the bender very fast. We use 2 1.5-inch nuts right here, and what they do is they give us the ability to infinitely adjust this pressure die anywhere we want. So if you're bending normal tubing, what you're going to want to do is adjust these nuts so that the tubing comes straight out of the side of the machine. That way, if you do later down the road, we have the mandrel extractor, that'll be required. The other feature that this gives us is custom dies are now very easy to bend. Easy to build. Any die you want, 6.15 inch radius, we can make it because we're not limited with holes where it has to a very design specific type deal. This here is infinite, gives us a lot of possibilities. All right, let's talk about the hydraulics now. As I mentioned before, the bender, to generate full power, you're going to need a 10,000 psi cylinder, no doubt about, pump, no doubt about it. At 40% power, however, we estimate 99% of the people are going to want to run the AC. It's much quicker. Now what you're going to see, if you've seen the video of the 53, this bender is going to be faster than a Model 53. And you go, well, why would I want to buy a 53 then? This bender here with the AC pump will not bend 2-inch square tubing, 2.5-inch round, stuff like that. It would require 10,000 psi pump. So you're going to spend money. The downside to the 10,000 psi pump is we cannot computerize it. We cannot control where the spindle is. The Model 53 uses an AC pump exclusively to develop full power, and it's easy for us to computerize it. This machine here can only be computerized with the AC pump. Now, speaking of the computer, it's designed and manufactured here in Tennessee. You're welcome to give you a tour of how we do it. And basically, it is a small PLC, and you can store 100 bins in it permanently. So you can unplug the machine, come back, your bins are still there. It only has 2 buttons on it. You've got a set and a 0. So once we load our tubing, we'll set the 0 button, which will zero out the display. From that point on, we're going to get a digital readout in bright yellow letters of every 1/10 of a degree. Once we hit our pre-assigned stop point, if you bought the optional auto stop, which is very affordable, you can look on our website and see it. It'll basically take over the hand pendant for you and stop it in that area. You're looking at accuracies of a few 1/10 of a degree typically. The Model 53 is a little more accurate than that, but a few 1/10 of a degree is still really, really good. All right, other features. We have on this side over here, you're not going to see it in the video, look at other videos, you'll see it. We have a locking system for the spindle, and the spindle will lock every 45 degrees. The reason for it is the bender will single stroke about 120 degrees. So if you're doing a 90-degree bend, you're going to be able to do that in one shot, no problem. Now let's say on the rare occasion you do a 180, all you would need to do is once you're stroked out a little over 90 degrees, the spindle will lock in place, you retract the cylinder, and you continue on to 180. Let's go ahead and let's bend some tubing, and what we're going to do is we're going to bend 2-inch 11-gauge tubing. So we simply put in our die, falls on the pins, no problem. We're going to put our lock bolt down. We're going to install the wiper or the pressure die or follow bar, whichever one you want to call it, same thing. Put it in the right side hole because this is heavy, larger tubing. Then we're going to take our tubing, set it right here, and we're going to run it through a follow bar. Actually, let's retract the pressure die. Put it there. Put our U-strap on. And now, run the pressure die forward. Looks like we need to adjust it up a little bit here, no problem. Okay, at that point, what I'm looking at is I'm looking to see, am I coming out of the bender at a 90-degree angle? And that looks pretty good right there. All right, what we're going to do here, we're going to start the pump, and I'm going to take the play out of the tube. Let's do that. All right, right now, you can hear the play in it. All we're going to do is we're going to run it. All right, the play's gone. We are now going to hit the 0 button. We just zeroed out the computer. Now, we preset bin 1 to go 93 degrees. So what she's going to do, she's going to run the 93 degrees and stop. At that point, I will select another bend to allow us to continue on doing a 180. We're not going to use the spring back function of the machine right now because typically if you go 90, you won't do it. So we'll bypass that. All right, let's go. This is once again 2-inch 11-gauge tubing. We're at 35, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70, 80. All right, she stopped at 93.1 degrees, which means we missed it by 1/10 of a degree. Pretty good accuracy. What we're going to do right now is we're going to select another bend because obviously I can't go to 180 because the computer's not going to let me go past 93. So I'm going to hit both buttons. I'm going to select bend number 99, and it's preset at 200 degrees. At this point, I can bend on. So what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and bend her out. Let's retract her back. The spindle will lock. You can see the drive pawl got a spring system in it. All right, and at that point, off we go. We're not going to go the full 180, just in case I overbend it. I want to be able to get it off the die. So what we can do right now is we retract back, simply flip the lever, run the pressure die back, remove the U-strap, and out comes your tubing, and there you go. That's 2-inch, 11-gauge tubing right there. All right, the Model 52 here comes complete. The bender sold separately, and it comes with the cylinder. What you're looking at here is a couple different items. You're looking at the bender. It's sitting on our stand. It has roller casters on the front, rated at 1,200 pounds each. The machine itself weighs just under 400 pounds, by the way. It's about 380 pounds on the base with pump and all. The machine itself is just slightly, right around 200 pounds. Now, the base, features in the base is it contains the pump, it has the ledge and everything to mount the computer. It also has handle grips where you can pick it up and move it around, and at all 4 corners it has leveling pads so that if you're doing very accurate bending or you do in the future decide to try our manual extractor when it's available, you'll be able to bolt the machine down and perfectly level it. The third item is the pump. They're sold separately. This pump here is a 1.5 horsepower AC pump, give you 40% of the power, which you just saw is probably sufficient for most people. And if you're doing the heavy stuff, you can go to an air over hydraulic pump. All those are sold separately. All Model 50 benders come with the computer. They do not come with the auto stop feature. Like I said, that is an option. It's easy to control by hand, so it's not an absolute necessity, but it is pretty nice to have. That is essentially the Model 52 bender. If you'd like, check out some other videos that in a little more detail will show you the computer a little bit more close up right there where you can see it and some other features. And I'd like to thank you for watching the video, considering JD Squared. You have a nice day now.